Hello guys, this is Wajahat, Chartered Accountant and a Visa Consultant. I'm here with another informative video on EB2 National Interest Waiver Program, US Green Card Program. Actually, आपको हर तरह की इन्फॉर्मेशन मैं दे रहा हूँ इस वीज़ा के हवाले से एंड मुख्तलिफ ममालिक के मुख्तलिफ वीज़ास के हवाले से। आप बने रहें, देखते रहें वीडियोस, सब्सक्राइब करें एंड शेयर करें। ये आप लोगों के फ़ायदे में ही है। टू फॉलो माई चैनल, आपको हर तरह की इन्फॉर्मेशन मिलेगी। हर तरह का मेरे पास ड्राफ्ट्स, फॉर्म्स एंड इंफॉर्मेटिव सेशंस saved हैं. Just call me if you need any information. It's all free of charge. Sadka Jariya. Just subscribe, share, and keep following. Thank you.
I took from a previous video, you can go here and check that video out. In this diagram, you can see that there's two main steps or two main parts of the process, the I-140 and the I-485 or adjustment of status if you are in the US. So I-140 really applies if you are in the US or if you are abroad. It's always the first step and it's really the step that is more difficult or more complex. Once you get that approval, then things are a little bit more clear. The path is clear. If you're in the US, you can do separate or concurrent applications. And again, you can go to that video that I talked about earlier and you can see what that is. But I-140 is really the step that you should really prepare. I mean, you should prepare all of them, but you should really stress out that preparation. It really involves much more than just filling out a form. A lot of people have reached out to me. It's not that easy. When you are putting together this sort of green card application, it's a rather complicated or complex task. It's not just filling out your information in a form. And in today's video, we're going to see exactly what this effort will involve. The diagram that I'm showing here also comes from a different video about the matter of Banasar that I leave here in the link on the corner. You have to fulfill two types of requirements. One is the general EB2 requirement. You should have an advanced degree, or if you do not have an advanced degree or a bachelor's, you have to target three of the criteria that USAS provides. But then specifically for national interest waiver, you're asking the US government to waive the requirement of having a job offer. And for that, you have to meet additional requirements. You have to have an endeavor that has substantial merit and national importance. You have to be well positioned to advance that endeavor, and you have to show that on balance, it is beneficial to the United States to waive that job offer. So you're applying without a sponsor. And these three prongs of the matter of Banasar are what you have to show to obtain that waiver from the US government. So the I-140 application really delivers to the USCIS all this evidence that you meet all the requirements shown in this diagram. This is the typical structure that an I-140 petition would have. It was $700 that you have to pay. Then you have the forms. This is what everyone knows about. You have the form I-140. You have to fill out that form. And then you have another form, which is the ETA 9089. And that's a really crucial part because that's your letter to the USCIS officer showing that you're meeting all the requirements. And then the three prongs of the matter of balance are substantial merit, national importance, well positioned, and then on balance is beneficial to the US to waive the labor certification. And then in my case, I also added my non-immigrant status, provided some information and some documents to the USCIS officer showing what had been my previous status and my current status at the time in the US. For example, if you are on a visa in the US already, you're going to provide that information there. And then some conclusion or closing remarks. In my case, this letter was about 20 pages long. And then I had a very comprehensive list of exhibits, and the list of exhibits is only the attachments. So in the letter, you are claiming a lot of things, and your advanced degree from University XYZ, copy of your diploma showing that you actually have that academic level. This is a picture of my I-140 petition. As you can see, this is not just a form, it's a whole number of documents. And later we'll talk about how to organize them a little bit better. So let's go one by one. I already provided an overview of them, but first we have the forms and the fees. Again, for I-140, the fee as of today is $700, and currently you can pay that by check or money orders, but they have to be issued by a US entity. If you are the forms that you have to include in this package. Of course, you have to provide the I-140 form. Always go to the USCIS website to get the most current form, and I leave a link here and also in the description or express mail. And this is a Department of Labor form. This is but you still have to fill out the form. Most of the fields you will write not applicable, but you still have to provide it. And you will submit it to the USCIS inside this package and not to the Department of Labor, which is another difference with the regular EB2 category. You can go to my website, download my whole petition, and you can see how it's there. But always good to check because after you are done with this easier part of the paperwork, you have to do the cover letter. The cover letter is a quite extensive document. It's an actual letter where you provide all the meat of the petition. You will show that you have certain qualifications and you're meeting all the requirements that we discussed earlier. You basically bring all the evidence together and you will cite the evidence that you provide later in the exhibits. We will have a separate video or more than one to have a separate document structure. All the proof of your claims are provided. If you do not have proof of something, do not write about it in the cover letter because it's really not substantiated by documentation. And in the next slides, I'm going to give some examples of documents that you can use to establish certain things. For example, To establish education, you can use diplomas from universities and transcripts from universities. But make sure if they are foreign, you should provide a credential evaluation report showing the equivalence of your diploma to or your degree to a US degree. And there are different institutions that are recognized by USCIS that can give you that. WES is one of them, IEE is another one, and there are others out there that you can do your research. You just need an overall equivalency report. You don't need a course by course report, and I would just do it for the high proof of awards, grants, prizes, scholarships. If you have membership in professional organizations, especially if those are organizations that they only allow certain people with certain achievements to be a part of, then that's even better. But in general, for this example, if you're a scientist and you do review for peer-reviewed publications, then provide the email of Nature. Then provide either emails or just show, maybe you have the agenda from the conference with your name, show that there. List of publications and citations, especially relevant if you are a researcher or scientist. If you have publications, you can also have a video, the first pages of each of them, name, press releases discussing the topic of your work, copies of laws, bills, or acts, focusing on the problem that you are trying to solve. Go to congress.gov, evidence that the US is really interested in solving. Google Scholar or is for the US and for the whole, imagine that you work on Scholar, but also in your employment, if you work in the US, and those show your full compensation, I currently working, and what your salary is, particularly your field. So this is particularly important for those cases. Examples of documents regarding your non-immigrant status, and if you want to show originals, you will show them in the interview later. So copies of passports, copies of any of the current or past visa pages, copy of any document, student visa, F1, the T1s, I had that EAD card. Current is this link tree, so you will get the whole organized. Now that we talked about all the documents that you can have in the petition, how to organize this monster of a document. Well, you can use cover pages to separate sections. You have to make the USCIS officer life a little bit easy. You want it to be as clear as possible. So make a cover page for each section or subsection to make it clear. And you decide what makes sense. You decide if you want to go by a bigger section or break it down into smaller pieces. And then each cover page can have this information: your name, your petitioner beneficiary name, and then some sort of title. For example, petition, I want, for example, a room, and then start putting all the sections below the cover letters, organize every records. Once you put everything together, scan everything, because you will not get this hard copy back. USCIS does not return hard copies. Use this type of fastener, two-hole punch machine, and this fastener to hold everything together from the top. And this is actually something that USCIS in a vertical way. And this is what I mean. Just make the holes here. Now you have everything put together, and then use sticky notes on all the sections and make it really a picture of my petition. Back here to show you A, forms and fee, and B, petition cover letter. And then all the numbers were exhibits. So as you can see, I have a lot of exhibits. So most of the petition are exhibits. Is the evidence that you're attaching to substantiate all the claims. Then you will have to mail your petition. You will protect that document from damage during shipping. You worked really hard on this, so you don't want it to be damaged. While you can see that I have to choose a box that is of the proper in their website. So you can actually have the proof that somebody in the USCIS a case number, and you can the number, and you can check the status whenever you 2 months. Unless rejected does the check, but they will return the whole thing to you, and you have to correct whatever you did wrong and send it back. You can get approved or denied. You can get an RFE, and I have a specific video on this request for evidence. I'll leave it here. Denied for notice of intent to drastic. You're 40 if you applied for that concurrently. For a green card, please green card. You for of this I-140 petition for the most personal info, but everything else is there. All the letters of recommendations, all the exhibits, my cover letter, the forms, filled out forms, and how I did it. So you can go there and actually get all the information. It is more than 200 pages. It is successful. It has been approved by USCIS, and I provide that proof of approval in the downloads section. And it's actionable, because even if you are in a different field and you're not a scientist, you can see how I structured this document, how I wrote it, what language I use, and how